we have taken a decision to restart visits to the prison. The prison was shut down to outside persons from the 30th of December 2020, and since that time there have been no visits permitted. The difficulty with a prison is a very closed ecosystem, and anything that gets into prison can spread very, very quickly. When we initially in COVID had the outbreak in the prison, all of you in the media are very well aware of how fast that spread, and pretty much everybody got it, and it was difficult to contain. Well, we managed to contain it because, as I said, the prison is closed, but it's a very delicate situation, so we had to be very careful as to who came into the prison, who brought what, who was allowed to interact with the persons who are resident in the prison. Now, factor this as well. Prisoners have no choice, inmates have no choice but to be there. They cannot control what comes in. We have to do that for them, and we have a responsibility to protect them because they're not capable in the situation of protecting themselves. So the responsibility for their safety and well-being falls upon the hierarchy of the prison and the Ministry of Home Affairs. So we did not make the decision lightly to close down the prison, and we also did not make the decision lightly to reopen the prison. I will say that some were pushing for it to be done next year, but this is Christmas, and inmates have been unable to see their family in person. They've been unable to have interactions with their attorneys in person at the prison since we shut down. While we want to dot all our I's and cross all our T's, there comes a time where you have to draw a line in the sand. And I'm satisfied. We had a number of days where there was no positive COVID tests in the prison at all. So we had zero positive COVID tests for inmates or for prison staff. And based on the protocols that have been strictly followed at the prison, based on the rules, we also believe that if something was to happen, we can quickly bring it under control. That being the case, there was no reason to wait until next year. We got clearance from the Ministry of Health. Acting Superintendent Mr. DiCarlo Payne and his team put together their list of protocols and their list of rules that have to be followed. They presented it. They were proactive. They didn't wait on the ministry to send to the prison what the ministry required. They created their own plan and submitted it to the Ministry of Health for their approval, and the Ministry of Health agreed entirely with the plan as set out. I don't even think they made one change.
No, sir.
So they agreed entirely with the plan as was set out, and we were given clearance to resume the visits. So effective today, persons will be allowed to make their appointments and to visit inmates in the prison. This government has put a focus on the rehabilitation of offenders. We've put a focus on trying to reintegrate those who leave the prison back into society in a seamless way. And one of those means of promoting reintegration has to do with allowing persons to interact with other people who are not part of the prison population. You need to be allowed to see your family. You need to hear what is going on in your household. You need to know how your children are doing at school. You need to do all of those things to prepare yourself to settle your mind as to what is going on, and to prepare yourself for your eventual release. So I am pleased to say that in keeping with the objectives of this government, in keeping with the objectives of this ministry, and in keeping with the cooperation from the prison service, that effective immediately visits have resumed at the prison for relatives, friends, and for attorneys at law. Mr. Payne will take you through some of what is required, because obviously it can't be a free-for-all, right? There'll be some strict adherence to rules to ensure the safety and security of those who are in the prison service and in the prison operation. So he will take you through what is to be expected, and we're not playing with this. The rules of the prison have to be obeyed if you want the visits to continue. So I'm going to turn it over to DiCarlo.
We're still going to be going with virtual visits as well, so we're doing a hybrid, basically. Those who want to choose virtual will do virtual, and those who want to choose face-to-face will also have the option. And these are some of the protocols that we would have been putting in place to make sure that this happens seamlessly. Okay, we're going to be approaching this where on a daily basis, it's anticipated that we're going to be doing 11 groups of visits. All right? Instead of 15 minutes, we're going to extend that period to 30 minutes. So we're going to be reducing the amount of persons who are going to be traversing the institution, which means the visits are going to be a bit longer, but we're going to be reducing the amounts. So that at any one time, we're going to have 15 persons, 15 visitors, okay? Before the visitors enter the prison, because we still have a mask wearing policy at the prison, they'll have to put on a mask at the front gate. They have to be sanitized at the front gate, and they also have to be processed in the visit center, and as they get into the main entrance of the prison, they'll also be sanitized. At the completion of each group of visits, we're going to also be doing a 30-minute sanitization as well to ensure that the next group of visitors who come will also be sanitized and also going into a pretty sanitized environment. The days for the face-to-face visits will be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we've allocated Tuesdays and Thursdays for virtual visits. As it relates to the attorneys at laws and the counselors, we're going to be doing those visits on appointment. We're not restricting those because as a result of court matters and so on, the attorneys will want to see the clients and so on at short notice. So we're not going to restrict the attorneys in relation to the whole issue involving their visits with their clients. However, because those visits are going to be done in a different system or a different way to the other normal visits, those are doing in a room where the inmate and the attorney will be in the same room and seeing but not hearing. We're going to ensure that there's no contact. Even in the normal visits, there can't be any contact. All right? In terms of coming into the institution, because if you all would have visited the prison, you'll see that we have gate locks. We're not going to be allowing no more than 5 to 7 individuals through the gate lock at a time. And this will reduce any instances for contamination and spread. We also have taken a decision, and it's deliberate, that inmates will not mix from from the different buildings. They're not going to be mixed. So if they're doing visits on J, it's only J. If they're doing visits on Q, it's only Q. So it's basically doing visits in a bubble. So you're not going to have an issue where Q inmates and J inmates and H inmates are in the visit center at the same time, because we know what that will create. All right. We've also indicated in the protocols that persons who are interested in visiting the prison should come at least a half an hour before in order to go through the processes and alleviate some of the issues in relation to wait times. So if you're supposed to be scheduled for 9, we would anticipate that you'll be at the prison for 8:30 so that we can do all the processes and so on and get you through the process. We are still conscious of the fact that there's COVID-19 in society, and we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to ensure that the visits can be done safely and that there won't be any dislocation, and if there is, it will be minimized in relation to our management of the process. So basically that's it in a nutshell.